Hello, this is Brennan, and welcome to Musings of the Mind. Today I'm going to be talking about the pillars of learning. The first thing you need to do when you're learning into a situation, because of course you're learning all the time, you're learning about new things, but we're going to talk about how to do it consciously in a strategic way. Because you can go about learning in an unconscious, unaware way where you're just sort of looking at a textbook, you're reading things, you're trying to memorize it, and you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. Or you can learn in a strategic way, applying strategic principles. And that's always the best way to do things in life. Don't stumble your way through life. Apply principles, apply strategy. I've talked about this in my other videos. So let's talk about learning. The first thing you gotta do is you gotta observe a situation. Like a class, you gotta observe a class. You're in a work environment, you gotta observe it a bit. You gotta become aware of the situation around you, and you gotta observe. The next thing you gotta do is you gotta make distinctions. And then what do you have to do? You have to make it. Well, you don't have to make changes in your behavior, but in order to learn things, but learning things will allow you to make changes. So let's use an example. Back when I was working in the fast food industry, I went to my first job. I'm not gonna give the chain or restaurants or anything. I don't want to get in trouble, and it's not really important. I'm not trying to attack anybody, but I'm simply using this as an example to demonstrate what I'm talking about. So what did I do? I walked in there, I had no idea what I was doing, just sort of ran around doing things. But as I observed the situation, I observed the managers behave in specific ways. I observed my other co-workers behave in certain ways. And I came to a realization. There were several different... Now, I was officially a crew member. I was officially just a general worker. And you were either general workers or manager. But within the general crew member group, what I realized is there were different categories. These were not explicit. These were observations I made and distinctions I made. There were the digital people. There were the general. They're the people who made the digital orders. The people who called in and did the online orders. There were people who made those orders. Then there were the people who made the orders to the customers who came in. Then there was the janitorial people, the people who cleaned things, did the dishes. Then there was the people who prepared the food. There were the people who cooked the food. Now there was basically what they do is they go in there. When you go in there, the managers have you try out the different jobs and find out which one fits for you, and officially they're all equal, but they aren't. What I realized when I observed the situation strategically, and I tried to distinguish between different jobs, the people who did the janitorial things were that was a dead end, a trap. If you just sort of like dish cleaning, janitorial cleaning things, you could not advance, and you could not become a manager. All of this was just sort of isolated. It was a trap, the lowest tier. Then there was the serving people, the general people. This was a tier up. This was sort of a neutral thing. It wasn't good if you were good at it, but it also wasn't bad. And the digital was a step up from serving general staff, and then the preparation of the food and cooking were top tier. These put you around the managers. If you were good at one of these jobs, you were on track to becoming a manager. Now, none of this was explicitly told to me, but these were observations I made. So that, and what this led to is, in my next job, I applied the same structure to the area that I was working. I tailored it, and I made it so that I was good at the job that got me into the position I wanted, and this brought prosperity in my life. Now, what did I do here? I observed the situation around me. I observed what was going on for quite a bit. I made distinctions between things, distinctions that were not told to me, distinctions that I observed, and that I came with strategy, and I used it strategically. And this is what I want you to do. Observe the situation painfully. Spend hours observing. When you're sitting there, bored out of your mind, just observing the situation, that's good. Observe it. Then you want to make distinctions based around the information you've observed. So observation gathers information. And then you want to make distinctions on the information gathered via observation. And then what you want to do is use this to strategically plan your next steps. Having said that, I think that concludes what I'm trying to say here. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.